So Microsoft Teams is asking me to enter a password. Do we have a password?
I didn't need to use one.
Nobody asked me for one.
It asks for your Microsoft password.
You think that's what it is?
Yes.
So I think in light of time, Cecilia, are you on here?
She said she was having trouble logging on.
Okay. Well, I gotta wait for Cecilia. She's my co-chair.
Yeah,
She's on.
I think she should be. Cecilia? She just entered the
I'm here, sorry.
There
There was
she is.
some people that didn't have the link to get on, and so I apologize. So I was trying to email them really quick with the live link. So, because I know we have a big group that are going to be joining us tonight. So I apologize. So we'll give people just a couple, like maybe 2 more minutes.
My name is Ross, by the way. Just a couple of housekeeping items. It's really helpful if everyone keeps their microphone muted, just for some feedback. So if you can do that, that would be great. At the bottom of your screen, there is a comment kind of thought bubble. You can put any questions in there. Or if you have any questions throughout kind of a presentation, there's also one that's kind of like a hand, and you can hit that. Kind of raises your hand, and then we can make sure that you're unmuted to ask any questions. But we found that's worked the best, just to try to keep the feedback for the speakers to minimum. So thank you.
And just one more thing to note, Ross and everyone. Hi, I'm Kelly. Just letting you know that this meeting is being recorded, and then we'll attach this to the meeting notes when they're ready. But just to let you know that this is being recorded.
Kelly and Ross, on your end, can you see how many participants we have so far?
Looks like right now we have 35.
Okay.
And I'm on audio. This is Wilbur. I'm on audio, but I can't see anything yet.
This is Stacy. I just joined you. I'm going to do without video, though, if I can. Without being on video.
Cecilia, do you want to go ahead and get started, or do you think we should wait a little bit longer?
Okay, I think we're ready. I think I'll look here on my emails. If someone's having trouble getting in, I'll just try to send them the link. But I want to welcome everybody to the quarterly meeting of the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. Looks like we've got a lot of great people speaking tonight, and we've got a wonderful group of participants. Thank you for everybody being here today on the Zoom meeting. I want to introduce my co-chair, Kelly Hartman. We are the co-chairs of the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. If you're joining us for the first time, I think we do have a few people that are joining us for the first time. So we want to welcome you. We have these quarterly meetings. The next one will be in December, and everyone is invited to participate. With this group, we have subcommittees, and we would love to have you join us if you're interested. And we're going to share a little bit about some of the work that some of the subcommittees have been doing, and feel free to email me or Kelly with any thoughts on how you'd like to participate. But with this group, you can be as involved as you like, but this is a way to bring the disability community together and to work collaboratively, to share information, to provide support. So we welcome you to our meeting tonight. Kelly, did you want to say anything?
No, just that for those of you who have not signed up with the City of Fishers website to get the updates, when anything that happens with this group, it does go out. Our agendas, meeting minutes, anything like that, activities. And as we continue to get closer and closer to March and new opportunities come out of this group, it's helpful to get that information from the City of Fishers website. And we'll make sure that Kelly and Ross help us get that information into the meeting minutes so that if you haven't signed up, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. And those of you that may not have met him yet, Ross Hillary is our ADA coordinator for the City of Fishers. He's also a senior planner here with the City of Fishers in the planning department. So please feel free to also connect with Ross. Well, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and go over to Kelly Hartman. She's going to talk about the COVID update and the data review from the disability community and give us an update of how things are going as it relates to COVID and the disability community.
Mostly, I think, first and foremost, everybody's sitting on the edge of their seat, ready to go back to school. I know a lot of folks are really missing their friends at school, and with that comes some anxiety about infection control and the ability to maintain compliance with PPE. So school starts tomorrow for some of the kids, some of the older kids, and I know some of the younger kids have already been going. From a service perspective across the state, as you can imagine, the incident rate and interference with service delivery is really, really varied across the state, depending on geography and density of population. I will say that it feels really positive over the last month or so that we've really gotten in a groove as far as not having any surges of cases within our population of folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities that are in services. That comes with a great deal of effort from the provider community to try and stick to COVID-19 protocols, keep staff safe, and really encourage continued CDC guidance compliance, even in our homes, which is just really hard. I will say the last thing for those of you who may have the Medicaid waiver, there were some provisions made available through what's called an Appendix K, which is our agreement. It's an amendment to our waiver, which is the agreement we have with the federal government to deliver services on the waiver. And that allowed for some family members to deliver services. It also allowed for telehealth provisions for many services that weren't previously available on telehealth, all as a result of the pandemic. Those were set to expire on, I believe, the end of August, and the state has gotten approval just very recently from the federal government that those provisions from Appendix K will continue to be allowed through the end of this calendar year. So if there were anything, if you or your loved ones were receiving services or you were participating in some of those changes made available through Appendix K, that's been extended through the end of the year. Other than that, that's about all I've got for data review from the COVID.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, we're going to move on to have Kelly Fisher talk about the Allegro Arts. And it is an opportunity, especially for people with disabilities, to have a way to connect and be active and participate in arts during this COVID situation. So I think, Kelly, are you there?
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. Do you want to share a little bit about this program and how it's beneficial for people with disabilities?
Yeah, so I think those of you that know me know that I'm involved in helping to develop a performing arts program for kids with disabilities in the Fishers area. That's a spinoff of a very successful program at Ball State University, where I've been working with them for probably 10 years. And so one of the things we noticed as the quarantine began was that obviously our kids who already have limited opportunities were having even greater difficulty connecting with creative arts or other even recreational activities. So what I'm doing now is working with Ball State University and the PRISM project in New Orleans, because the New Orleans group created what they call Allegro Arts, which is a creative arts program that is administered virtually and is interactive. So rather than like a live Facebook video that you might watch with your child, it's an opportunity to interact with music therapists, dance therapists, other kids, which we're actually seeing a lot of interaction among the kids using the video platform that sometimes we don't see as much face-to-face. And it is a way to continue to deliver creative art in a fun way, but also in an engaging way. So it basically doesn't replace the PRISM project in terms of the in-person interaction, but it does offer parents an opportunity that engaging their child when they can't be in public activities or those public activities aren't available, and in a way that reinforces the children's participants. So for example, if they're writing a story, the kids are encouraged to contribute lines or even given parts so that they can act out the stories, and they share information and talk to one another. And again, it's basically what we're doing with Ball State is trying to take advantage of that opportunity, which is a time where they can't be in face-to-face interactions, and using it to our advantage as much as possible to see how far we can push technology in terms of giving kids something more than just a screen to look at. And what we're trying to do is basically, although the New Orleans chapter has already been running Allegro Arts, we're working with Allegro Arts to try and create a Fishers specific, a Fishers Muncie sort of East Central Indiana specific group, so that you're working with kids that are going to hopefully be able to develop relationships that could expand to in-person opportunities once that again becomes available. So that's basically it.
Kelly,
I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Questions from the chat. Does Allegro Arts include life drawing and painting? Kelly? Hello?
Kelly, you may be muted.
Kelly, there was a question of whether the Allegro Arts include life drawing and painting. Are you there? Okay.
Cecilia, you have her muted.
I have
Up in the little box that whoever's speaking that's under the slide, you've muted her. So I'll get off.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Kelly, can you hear me now? I'm sorry, guy. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Is Kelly there? I don't know how.
Cecilia, this is Leslie. Maybe just ask her to answer it in the chat if she's still on. And since we can't
Okay.
hear her, maybe she could just answer the question in the chat.
Right, she did. Okay.
Can she click on her own to unmute the microphone?
Because I don't see that there anywhere here where I'm sorry. I don't see where I've unmuted her. Okay, I know she had to leave pretty early, but I'm sorry. I can send that via email, a response. I don't know if there's
How come
any
there's no
question.
sound?
How come there's no sound?
We don't want the microphone on, we want sound.
Sound?
No, honey, we cannot have it, we have to keep our mic.
Okay. I think we lost Kelly, but I will send an email out with that question. We're going to move on to, can everyone hear me? Just want to double check. Okay. We're moving on to the housing subcommittee update. I don't know how many people have met Wilbur Sutton. He is our co-chair of the housing subcommittee for the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. He's going to introduce himself and he's going to share a little bit about what the committee's been doing and the various partners we've been working on with Fishers. And then we're going to share a couple of affordable and accessible housing projects that are coming up here in Hamilton County. So go ahead, Wilbur.
All right, that's pretty exciting. One of the things that's happened in the past year is our housing committee met with Tony Bagato, and he met with the zoning commission, and we've actually reduced square footage. In R1 zoning, we've reduced square footage on a two-story construction from 2,400 to 2,200 square feet, on a single story from 2,100 to 1,800 square feet. And in R2, R2 is probably the most important because most of Fishers is R2. A two-story has been reduced from 2,200 to 1,800 square feet, and a single story from 2,000 to 1,600 square feet minimum. The advantage we have with that reduction is that's going to make construction more affordable for home ownership in Fishers. So that's pretty exciting. One of the other things that's coming up is the Planning Commission is considering ADUs, which is accessory dwelling units. And Tish Biggs and Emmy Barwitz and I had met with them a year ago and tried and introduced that, and they're interested in pursuing that. And that's an addition or a conversion of your house. Could be a room over the garage, or could be a finished basement, or it could be an addition for your mother-in-law to move into, or a college student to come back home. It's gonna make home ownership in Fishers a little bit easier. Probably the most exciting thing that's happened recently is our new construction, and I need to let Rhonda Waybright kind of explain that. But our committee basically endorsed this apartment project that's going up at 106th Street between Hague Road and I-69, and it's pretty exciting because it's accessible. They have units that are targeted to affordable. But I'll let Rhonda talk more about that. But we, as a committee, we endorse that to try to get that moving forward, and it's happening. So it's actually under construction as we speak. So that's pretty exciting. That's it in a nutshell.
So thank you, Wilbur. So I'm going to introduce Rhonda Waybright. She's with Real America, and she's going to talk about a new development called South Point Village in Fishers. So go ahead, Rhonda. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We actually have a PowerPoint presentation. With COVID and everything going on, we were not able to have a groundbreaking ceremony, which we really love to do, but we had some great participants. You'll recognize some faces in our videos that are coming up. If I can get my screen to share and work, this will explain the project and what we're doing. We are under construction actively. It's actually on Lantern Road between 106th and 116th. So that's we have another project that's under construction on 106th, but the project that we're talking about with this development is on Lantern Road. So let me get this going, and I'll hope it works. Okay. So here we go. Let's see. So far, so good. All right. So this is who we are, Real America Development. We are located, I'm a Fishers resident. We were located in Fishers for a while. Our focus is on affordable housing throughout the state.
I can't see your screen, honey.
Oh, you can't?
Can you hit the share screen, which is in the middle of your bar at the bottom?
Yeah,
it's the one with the little arrow and that's in the square.
I hit that. Oh boy, this is what I was afraid would happen.
Rhonda, this is Ross. When you hit that, there should be an option where it shows either a desktop, a window, or a PowerPoint, and you'd have to click that as well.
Okay, well, shoot. I'm sorry.
Are you there?
Is it working?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Okay, so now I have to figure out how to get back to the beginning. I'm sorry.
Just go to slide.
Okay, here we go.
Slideshow view from beginning.
Okay, are we ready now? Okay.
Yep.
Can you see it? Good, perfect. Okay. Just a little bit about us. We do development that primarily focuses on affordable housing, persons with disabilities, and senior housing throughout the state of Indiana. We've done new construction, adaptive reuse. We renovated an old historic hotel in South Bend into apartments, and just have a variety of different housing types throughout the state. This is my team. We're a fully integrated development, general contracting, property management, and long-term owner of properties. I've never sold anything I've developed, and this is my great team that works really hard to put these projects together. We have a mission in our company that we really try to find the best places that people want to live, not where people tell us to go, or we want to be where everyone wants to live and bring the services that and the engagement throughout the community to our residents. So we look for the locations that anyone and everyone wants to live in and walk in, and we go through the effort of really trying to make it happen and partner with organizations to help our residents live better lives. Oops. So South Point Village Apartments, we worked on this development. I think you've probably heard me talk about it for the past 3 years on Lantern Road. We finally got our tax credit allocation, which is really what makes the development affordable. It took us 3 tries, and with the help of the City of Fishers and the partnerships that we'll explain as we come through this, we actually broke ground and we're under construction with a grand opening expected next fall. Here's the development's property address and how you can visit the website and get more information. So this is so the development is a 62 unit development that's workforce housing, which means it's affordable at the 60% average median income for the county. We will have we'll have units at 30% median household income, 40%, 50, 60, 70, and 80%. So we really blend the income limits throughout the development. And the lower income units, the 30s and the 40s, are set aside for persons with disabilities that have limited income, who have not as many opportunities to access higher jobs or different access in the community. And so we have a variety of units that will be available at the lower income limits. And let me play this video. Hopefully this works. And we have 2 videos to play, and this is the first one. And can you hear that? Kelly? Can't hear it?
Not here.
No sound?
It does have sound. You can't hear it.
I can't.
Okay. Any clues on how I play this sound? No? Ross?
Is the sound coming from your computer on your end?
Yes, I can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Go to the toolbar and click the 3 dots. There should be an option to share computer sound.
I can eat out there.
Oh gosh. Nope. No?
It's located under show device settings.
Well, if Stephanie is, I know Stephanie logged in, if she's able to play the video, she's my marketing guru. I really want you to see the video. Shoot. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I'm trying to work on it too, Rhonda. I'm not sure that I'm able to play the sound from my end. Let's try it. Can you hear that?
I can. Can anyone else?
We can hear little.
No.
Okay.
Come on, Wilbur, narrate it.
Shoot.
Like if you want, showing a 0 degree level, we're showing things that make a home more accessible. We're showing wider hallways. We're showing light switches at 48 inches instead of 60 inches. Let's see what else comes up on the video. Video went away.
Sorry, let me see if I can pull up the video really quickly separate from the PowerPoint, and maybe I can get it to work like that.
Okay. I apologize.
Audio.
I obviously need more lessons on IT.
While they're working on that, I don't know if you can hear me. This is Stacy Oldham, but I put a little comment in the chat. Many of you know Tricia Dixon, and she's been a member of our group and volunteer for many, many years. The exciting thing, and she and I both had tears, was she was approved for one of the very first units in this particular building, and is looking so forward to moving in fall of next year. So, you know, this is a project, Wilbur, you've been amazing and working with housing and those types of things. I think we've met a milestone, and we see our own people that have worked so hard, and I think it's wonderful. So I wanted to let you know that we're grateful, and she's thankful, and I don't think she's on the chat tonight, but one of our best that's been working with us for years. And again, we had tears.
Oh,
Thanks, Stacy. Thanks for that comment. We're gonna, it looks like the video's ready to go, I hope. Let's look at that.
I still don't hear any sound.
I just don't think I can get the, Stephanie, were you able to play it?
I like what I'm doing. I don't know.
Kelly, is there a way for you guys to grant access from the host?
I just can't figure it out.
I'm going to defer to Ross because I'm not sure on that either. I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah, someone can send us a copy of the video, and I can try it on my end. If not, I think Rhonda, if your team would be able to send it to us, we'd be happy to shoot it out in a large email blast. Do you know if our PR, I know Gerard's on here, do you know if our PR team has seen this to be able to help communicate the video out to a larger audience as well?
I do not believe so. We were late getting it. It just came out of the production side.
Okay.
It took a little while. But Stephanie, if you can send that over to who would be best? Ross, do you?
Gerard Franklin is on the call here. Him or Ashley Elrod. I can definitely get you both their email addresses.
Okay. Okay. I'll go through the rest of the presentation, and then hopefully we can get the videos to play later in the meeting. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll go ahead and go past. Here's a visual of the building. Let's at least get to some of the pretty stuff. It's a 4-story structure. We'll have
Sorry, Rhonda, it's not showing up on the screen. Can you go back to your slide? There, thanks.
Now is it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so here's a picture of the building. That's the community space in the middle, and we'll have a rooftop deck up there, as you can see, that will look out over the nickel plate area. The units will all include built-in appliances, free internet services, full-size in-unit washer and dryers, energy-efficient features, vinyl wood plank flooring, open concept floor plans, balconies and patios, and ceiling fans. And if you can see the top picture, as you go north on Lantern Road, we'll have this really, really impressive welcome to the Nickel Plate District as, you know, a real vocal point as you drive north and see the building. We're really excited about that. Here are the floor plans. They're open. This layout has worked really well for us in other developments. Just very open. We try to minimize hall space so that we have as much living area as possible. And you'll see the square footages there, 682 for a 1-bedroom and 988 for a 2-bedroom. And the rents, it says that they are starting at $769 a month. Actually, the 30% units are $330 a month, and for the 1-bedroom, and the 2-bedrooms are starting at $394 a unit. Now those will go up to, when we get to the 80% income limits, they get up to a little over $1,000. But when you blend that all together, we have an average rental rate, and that's what you're seeing there with the $769. This is just explaining, we have this presentation together for people who don't understand everything that Fishers has to offer. And so we're really so excited to be in the Nickel Plate District and have accessibility to all the downtown activities. So this is a little more about the development. We'll be on the access to the Nickel Plate trails close by. As part of the development, we'll have a community room and an area that we're working with our partners to bring services for our residents. And I know that Chris is on the phone, and I do have another great video with Kelly and Cecilia Wilbur and Chris of Chris Sorensen of Janus. They'll actually be on site providing services. We'll have offices and areas where the residents can access their services, work with service providers, and just have everything right there at their fingertips. We'll have an on-site fitness room and classes. We'll have a computer area that's internet connected in a common area where we can do classes and different kinds of offerings virtually. We'll also have an indoor, like a reading corner, playground area inside, so that during all weather we have a place where the kids can go and just relax a little bit. And then we also have a bike share program, and then just a variety of different services that we try to bring to our community room. And help our residents access the different things that are offered in the Fishers and Hamilton County area. Here are a few pictures of some of our other developments that just show some of the accessible options and amenities, roll-in showers and grab bars. And again, when we get the video to play, I think Wilbur gets into more detail on some of the things we do. We were able to work with the City of Fishers and allow the fire department to practice. So you may have seen some fun activities out on the property as you drove up and down Lantern Road. We're just always excited that we are able to do that when we have a demolition. And the City of Fishers demoed the houses for us and cleaned off the property, and it was just a huge help for the development. This is where we are currently. We have we've made some progress even from this picture. The parking lot will be going in this week, and the foundation is in. So this will give you a little bit of an idea where we're located, and it will start actually framing in October. So that's very exciting. Throughout the winter, you'll see it going up. And so these are our partners that really brought it all together. Without the integrative, and when you see the video, you'll see that without the various partners that we can really pull the integrated housing together, Jana is outside the box, opportunities for positive growth, and Insights Consulting. It really is just another apartment development, but we're really integrating affordable, accessible housing with workforce housing in general. So it's really just a great blend of partnerships. And then on the financial side, of course, the City of Fishers helped us and made it possible, as well as the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. They're key partners with the tax credits. JP Morgan Chase invested in the project, and Merchants Bank of Indiana provided our financing. This is another great video that I can't wait for you to see. It stars Cecilia and Chris and several people. Hopefully we can get that to you here shortly. And here's our contact information. So please, we'll send this out. You don't have to try to write everything down, but we will have a website, and we are getting phone calls. So we would love to have you contact us and get on the list because I suspect this will go fast. And that is it.
Thanks, Rhonda. We have one question. Someone asked, it looks like the 30% units are going to go quick. What is the lease? Is it a 1-year lease, or what's the turnover you think on the units?
It is a 1-year lease. And you're right. They will go fast. We'll work with our service providers to make sure that we, identify their clients and make sure, that we have all the services in place. We've already been in communication with all 4 of them to make sure that, their clients know that we're coming. I think we've been talking about it for a while, but, the turnover will be, we do have a lot of residents throughout our communities. We have about 2,100 apartments. We do have some residents who've moved in and, haven't moved out. That's a good and a bad thing. That, is indicative of the need, and people, don't want to leave their homes any more than anyone else. But we are imagining that this could go quickly. We do have 62 units, so hopefully, we'll be able to reach, a significant number of people and take care of some needs.
That's wonderful. Kelly, did you have anything more to add, or Michelle, as far as like the services or anything like that? No? Okay. Are there any other questions for Rhonda on the project?
We really have some great video coverage. I want to thank you guys for spending some time with us out on the property and Mayor Fadness as well. We did a nice kickoff video. I will make sure it gets sent out because it really explains the partnerships much better than I'm able to do in a flustered way right now. So we will get that out to you. Thanks for your time on that.
Thanks, Rhonda. Thank you so much. I really want to thank the Housing Subcommittee, Wilbur and his team, and Rhonda. And this is an amazing project with, like Rhonda had said, with all these collaborators in our community, and it wouldn't have been possible without the help of everybody. And we all should be really proud of this project here in Fishers. So thank you, Rhonda and Wilbur. and your team for everything you've done. So appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you for being on our meeting today.
Thanks.
So we're also going to share a little bit about another new project that's coming to Carmel. And this one is through the partnership with Village of MERICI. It's called the North End Project. And I have Colleen Reaney on the call today. And Colleen, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And
I'll
I
try
believe
to
you
share my
have
screen.
you're right. You have a presentation and a video too. So go ahead and.
So let me see if that's sharing or not. Oh, let's see. Can you see my screen now? Oops.
Yes, yes, we can see it.
The moving forward screen. Okay. So this is, my name is Colleen Reed. I'm the Executive Director of Village of MERICI, and we, I'll tell you a little bit about us. We're a service provider primarily. We're a Medicaid waiver service provider. And we used rental housing tax credits and partnered with Merchants Affordable Housing back in 2012 to obtain tax credits to build a 20 apartment unit building over in Lawrence Township. So we opened in 2014 with 21 residents. 19 had never lived away from home before. Back in 2012, we were able to designate all 20 units for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And this is affordable housing. So we currently have 23 residents, including one couple that's married. They got married a couple years ago here, and they're doing quite well. We currently have a waiting list of over 200 people who want affordable housing in this area. So as Rhonda mentioned, there's not a lot of turnover. We've only had 4 units turnover in the last 5 years. It's affordable, it's sustainable, and it's a community within a community for these adults. All but 2 residents have jobs. One is retired and the other one doesn't want to work. So we also do a lot of programming and provide services to the individuals. Not everyone in the apartments uses us. A couple of individuals use other Medicaid waiver service providers, which is fine. Everyone, but our offices are housed in the lower level of the apartment building, and we just recently bought a second building here on Lawton Loop in Lawrence, and we'll be converting that into approximately 35 to 39 apartments. It probably won't be open until 2022. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of idea of some of the people we support. One of the concepts we had was it was a group of family members that came together to say what's going to happen to our family members when we're no longer able to care for them. And so that was kind of the impetus for getting us started way back in 2006. It took us a long time to get our financing together. We had the same situation as Rhonda talked about. We applied for rental housing tax credits in 2011, didn't get them, had to go back and restructure some stuff, and we were able to get the tax credits in 2012. So I'm trying to look at my camera and look at the screen at the same time. We truly believe in community integration, and that is more than just a place to live. It really needs to be a situation where the individuals that are living in a situation are supported. They have engagement with one another, but engagement in the community. There's walkability and accessibility for them to move about in the community. Transportation is a big issue for anyone. So on the North End project, the walkability is really exciting for us. One of the focuses of the North End project is the home management and smart home technology piece that we're integrating into all the units, not only the units that are set aside for adults with intellectual disabilities, but for all residents of the complex. So our moving forward team is combined with Old Town Company, which is the developer. They have done commercial residential programming in the past. This will be their first project with integrated intellectual and developmental disabilities and tax credits. And then Merchants Affordable Housing, and then Village of MERICI as a service provider coordinator again. So that's our team. A little bit about Old Town Companies. As I said, they are a Carmel-based commercial and residential real estate developer. They've done several mixed-use developments in the Carmel area. They've had a lot of experience in senior housing as well. And they are a great company to work with. They're very mission focused. So they're very excited to be working with us and individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to provide affordable housing for those individuals. Carmel has kind of been an affordable housing desert in the past, and so this is a great project for us to be involved in. Why are we here? Old Town's engagement is basically recognizing the need for adults with disabilities to live near their families. Everybody wants to be close by. They don't want to have to move into areas that are too far from their family. So being able to be within the Carmel city limits and being able to really focus on that integration in the community is important. North End, their mission is, community first communities and developing those. And they really are wanting to develop this program that, listen to what are the unmet needs for adults with disabilities in securing affordable housing and being included in the community. And so that's one of their driving mission focuses for this project. So as I said, the mission is to advance the inclusion of people with disabilities in community life by providing them that affordable housing and then creating those intentional interactions within the community. The project is a pretty large project. The North End project will have multi-use family apartments. There's 240 apartments that are going to be built, 40 of which will be designated as for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We are putting together an advisory board to kind of make sure we understand the needs of the individuals in the Carmel area, of what they want, not just what we think is needed for them, but what they want to see in their living environment. So that will be a project that is, they're working on that and starting to put the advisory committee together, and that will be forthcoming in probably October, November, December. Again, looking at location is critical. So the area is very walkable. It has a lot of opportunities for recreation, inclusion, jobs, just a nice area. And I'll show you on a map here in a minute what the boundaries are. So the North End project is bordered on US 31 on one side, Smoky Row Road on the other, and the Monon Trail on the other. So looking at the blue area, these are where the apartments will be primarily. The yellow area is townhomes. There'll be some condominiums. There'll be some retail space involved in this as well. So it's a 28-acre community, and they also will have a farm-to-table restaurant and an urban farm located within the property as well. So this kind of gives you a detailed kind of a sketch of the farm area, and these are the apartments and townhomes in the back. But again, with that community first strategy is really wanting to build that neighborhood concept in this large project. They're looking at really developing ways we can develop the relationships between not only the residents with disabilities, but the typical residents, and how they can interact and be supportive of one another in a true kind of community integrative sense. We found that during this COVID crisis, with a lot of the people we support that live out in the community in a single apartment by themselves, they've become more isolated. Their neighbors aren't, helping them go to the grocery store. They're not helping them get to the doctors. They're not integrating with them more often. And so we really want to try and find, ways in this Carmel project to really make that a meaningful relationship between all individuals that live in the project. There will be an amenity center for exercising for everyone, and there's no segregation between anyone. The units will be scattered throughout the 240 apartments. It won't be a single wing or a single unit or anything like that where the adults with disabilities will be housed. They'll have a choice of units throughout the property. So this gives you another little bird's eye view of where the property is located. Monon Trail, Smoky Row Road, and then US 31 here. So we feel it's really close to, hospitals and direct support for medical needs, lots and lots of entertainment and parks and recreational opportunities. So Carmel's just, as I said, has been kind of an unaffordable area in the past. Our units will be set at primarily the 30 and the 50% unit, or 50% level. We're hoping to also get a majority of the units approved as Section 8 housing choice vouchers so that all 40 units could be set aside at the 30% level, because we do feel there will be a really strong need for that. So transportation options, we've been in discussions with Janus and the Hamilton County Express. We're also in the process of developing a program called MERICI City Rides, which is a kind of a volunteer rideshare program. We're starting it here in Indianapolis, and then we'll expand it to the North End project. So we're matching volunteer drivers with riders for accessible transportation, because transportation is such a key impediment to accessing the community. Most individuals can't use Uber or Lyft. They don't have credit cards. They don't have the transportation fees to take Uber or Lyft somewhere. So using the MERICI City Rides format and integrating that into this North End project is something that we hope to get off the ground, as well as just collaborating with the Hamilton County Express on making sure residents know how to use that system to get to and from work and to get to and from the community. There'll also be a bike share station that people can ride. We're also looking at some other types of transportation options. We've found with a lot of the people that we support, riding a two-wheel bike is not really safe. They don't know how, the two-wheel bike is difficult. So we're looking at some different transportation options, such as maybe golf cart type accessible units that somebody could rent or use to access the area, or at least the property that will be on North End, since it's a large 28-acre complex. We work with Merchants Affordable Housing as part of the project. They bring to the table the tax credit base and knowledge that they have in putting those project models together and helping with the tax credit affordability to make this a sustainable project for the adults. As I said, finding a home, a place where they can live, and they will be yearly leases, but they'll be renewable. The leases will be the same leases that the other individuals in the other 200 apartments have. So no changes there, except the price of the unit will be there. So Merchants Affordable really brings to the table that expertise and that quality of life planning services, the neighborhood revitalization, and again, just partnerships with the area. They are located right there in downtown Carmel. And so we're excited to have them as part of that piece. So again, we really feel like the integrated affordable housing model will be a success in Carmel. We think there's a lot of need, and The project is just now doing some land clearing. It's scheduled to be started here in the next month or so, and then the anticipated opening is the fall of 2022. Okay, so that's all my.
Thank you, Colleen. One question I had is there a waiting list? How are you going to prioritize who's able to lease those units?
The waiting list has not yet started. It will start primarily with an interest list of people from the advisory committee. We'll send out information, and then once it's closer to the lease opening date, you then have an ordered waiting list that you take certain applications that, and then people get an order for those apartments. Village and MERICI will be doing kind of an assessment of the needs and resources that an individual has. We use the supports intensity scale for adults to identify the needs and what supports, and then what kind of supports do they have? Do they have family support? Do they have waiver support? Do they have vocational support? What kinds of things can help support that individual to be successful living in the community and in their own apartment.
A couple other questions is people were wondering what's the price of the most affordable unit, and then who do they contact if they're interested in a unit?
They can contact me. Like I said, we're just now starting an interest list. The price of the units, I don't have that. The market rate units will be probably in the $1,200 to $1,500 range, and so at the 30 and 50% level, it would be 30% of that. So in the $400 range, possibly for the 30% units, and maybe as high as 60%, $600 for the 50% levels. Again, with the help of merchants, we're looking to try and see if we can get housing choice vouchers for those units, so that the individual living in the unit would only pay 30% of their income, not 30% of the unit, but which then makes it even more affordable. And that we were able to do that here in Lawrence. And so individuals in our apartments, their rents go anywhere from $34 a month to $375 a month, depending on their income. So that is still kind of in the process. So that's why we don't have an exact price yet on the individual units.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Does anyone else have any questions about this particular project? Someone wants to know if you could please share your contact information, Colleen.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't do that. I can, you want me to, I'll put that in the chat box?
Put it in the chat box. That's great.
Okay.
And I really appreciate everything you've done. You are a strong advocate for the people with disabilities, and I'm really excited to just see where this goes, and where we can continue to create more of these affordable housing opportunities for people with disabilities. So thank you for everything you've done. It looks like the video is ready for the Real America project. Rhonda, Ross said he could play it now.
That would be great. Thank you, Ross.
I have a daughter that's in a wheelchair, been in a wheelchair her whole life. She's got a power chair, and what a lot of people don't realize is a power chair is a little wider. And one of the things Real America has done with the design in here is they have apartments that are flagged to have 36-inch doors all throughout the apartments. So apartments that are going to be tagged accessible are going to have 36-inch doors everywhere in their home, which is wonderful. A lot of things people don't think about, like being able to reach a light switch, pull open a door. If you've got mobility issues, you can't necessarily grab a knob or turn the doorknob. They're putting lever handles on the doors. They're putting pull handles on the doors. There will be sinks that will have knee space that a wheelchair could roll up under the sink and be able to utilize the sink. Obvious things like grab bars in the restrooms, things like that are incorporated. I think Real America has really gone above and beyond to make the accessible apartments truly accessible by tackling some of the things that we just take for granted.
I'm Rhonda Waybright. I'm the president of Real America Development. South Point Village is a affordable workforce housing development in the heart of Fishers on the Nickel Plate Trail. In working with the community, we were able to develop a product that works both for workforce housing for people that are working in the community that need something affordable that they can walk to, that they can work and play and go to school within their community, but also for persons with disabilities who want to be in the community they live in, close to their family, be a part of giving back and working within the community and accessing all the services that are right outside their front door. The real connections that brought the development together, several years of working with Cecilia Coble and her passion around the needs of the community on housing and affordability.
I have been a warrior mom because of this little gal here, Krista. She is my daughter who has special needs and autism. A lot of families like myself, they want to be close to their loved one with a disability. And unfortunately right now, with the lack of there not being affordable housing, it's hard for loved ones to be close to their parents and grandparents and the community in which they grew up. And so this is a wonderful start to something that's greatly needed. And we're really excited and proud to be a part of this project with Real America.
Fishers has great resources. What we don't have is affordable housing for our workforce who support folks with disabilities. And we don't have the opportunity to have folks with disabilities integrated into the community. The affordability of bringing people into their own homes, it's a huge, huge need. And so what I see is this is going to be a great example of how to do it right in a community that's excited about it. And I see it being really a bridge to further opportunity for similar thinking in the future.
Well, the thing that really makes this personal is we have people with accessibility issues, but they're living side by side with everybody else. And I'm thinking this is great because this is blending everybody together. So it's not an accessible apartment, it's an apartment with accessibility. That's powerful.
You know, for families and caregivers to know that their individual is going to be living in a place that is accessible, but also very attractive and located within a central area, so that it's just really giving that person the opportunity to be a part of a community, a part of a vibrant and growing community. I think we've just sensed in Fishers this energy.
We've had a strong advocacy for folks with disabilities, and we know that housing is a critical shortage for those individuals. So integrated into this project will be units that are tailor-made for individuals with disabilities. And I think that just demonstrates a sensitivity to the community and the context for which we're trying to develop these projects. And I think that in itself is a testament to both Real America and the community's desire to really develop something that is accretive to our community.
A development like South Point Village Apartments isn't possible without the financial partnerships that bring it all together. The only way we're able to provide affordable rental rates is the partnership of the Indiana Housing Community Development Authority, partners such as JP Morgan Chase, Boston Capital, and a loan with Merchants Capital, and the financial support that the city offered bring a whole package together that delivers an affordable option for people in the community.
Again, I am so excited. This brings chills to me just in seeing just how much we've evolved in Hamilton County and Carmel and Fishers. So we should all be really proud of the work we've done and the people involved. So I'm super excited. And thank you, Colleen and Rhonda, for being on our Zoom meeting today, and our community partners, Janice and Outside the Box, Opportunities or Positive Growth. You guys are doing so much to help the people with disabilities. So we appreciate everything you're doing in partnership with us. We're going to move on to community collaborations. We've been doing a lot of community collaborating these last few months during COVID, and we want to bring some information to you on two exciting things we're doing in collaboration with some of our community partners. So I'm going to let Mary Kennedy, who's going to be chairing this new social club that we're starting in Fishers, she's going to go ahead and provide you with the information on Thrive.
Thanks, Cecilia. Can you guys see my slides now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so Thrive. So Thrive is an idea that has been brewing in my head for years, working with or just working in general with other parents and moms and families that are, you know, just ahead of my son Ryan. And so talk to Cecilia about it. We've got a kind of a good little crowd in the high school that's coming up, and Ryan just graduated. He was a graduate of the class of 2020. And so talking with Cecilia, she's like, we could do this within the committee and the city of Fishers. So it's just taken on all kinds of momentum in the last few months. So Cecilia asked me to present today what we're doing. And so I was gonna go ahead and talk to you about that. And we've got some data, and some of the people from the city of Fishers is gonna help me out here. So anyway, so how did Thrive come to be? So, you know, we all know the cliff after school is done with inclusive social opportunities for our kids with disabilities, and the concept of what Best Buddies and Unified Sports has done for my son and I see and his peers in high school. It's just been this inclusive social typical opportunities for our kids has just been great. So, you know, and our kids' peers end up leaving high school and going on to college and developing these friendships that are quite natural for them. And they that has kind of disappeared when the typical peers leave and go off to college. So I wanted to create a space where our kids could continue these relationships. So, it's just been an issue that I have heard about for years. So we've got several, I think, key people involved in this. So Kelly Hartman at Outside the Box and Cecilia, the co-chairs of this committee, are helping out with this. Jared Franklin and Amy Krell from the city of Fishers have been helping us out with this. Myself, Angela, and Zenobia. Actually, Zenobia, I have your name wrong there. I apologize for that. Zach's mom. That's how I know Zenobia. That's how everybody knows Zenobia, right? And Dana Potschmidt, who is a fabulous advocate for our population that works over at OPG and heads up the Kiwanis Action Club. So it's really a great group of people that's really helping push this along with great ideas. So, so what is Thrive and what is Thrive not? So we got together and came up with a mission statement. So the mission of Thrive is to connect citizens of all abilities in our community to participate in life-enriching social activities. So it is a subcommittee of this committee. It is we hope it to be an inclusive club for adults with intellectual disabilities, intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we hope to have volunteers in the community that want to actually participate as club members for this. It's an opportunity to create community also for the caregivers of the families and the caregivers of our population. So it is what it is not a nonprofit. This is not respite care. This is not adult day programming. So that if participants need some sort of support, they need to provide their own support in this setting. So, but I think it's going to be a great opportunity for our adults to have make some really good and fun social connections. So, so where we are, so we sent out a survey. We created a 15-question survey with the help of the committee and the community engagement department. I think I'm calling that by the right name. I'm not sure.
You're correct.
Okay, great. We created this survey, had it online, sent out the link to everybody's contacts, and we got a really, really good response. So I'm going to hand it over to Gerard Franklin, who heads up that department at the City of Fishers, because he's got the data. So you want me to just walk this through?
I can share my screen if that makes it easier.
Sure. Let me see. I guess I need to stop sharing mine. Yeah, I stopped sharing mine.
Perfect. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So the group, we did a lot of brainstorming and to really put together a survey, a pretty comprehensive list of questions that we thought that will give us the appropriate data that we needed to start this program. The intent behind it was really just to gauge the audience out there in the City of Fishers to see if this program would be, or the social club would even be of interest to any of our community, and to see really like what they would want to see the program become. So a few screenshots here just to show like some of the questions that we ask, and I'll dive into the data of each of those. Really just starting by asking the person if they're a caregiver or if they're the person with these intellectual developmental disabilities. So we did leave the survey open to both sides, both parties, as well as professionals. So that data is captured, and the survey was about 15 or so questions, and we built in some like conditional logic. If they answered a certain way, then it prompted the petitioner to answer certain questions. So I'll dive into those. So a large sum of people actually participated in the survey by using the parties that Mary kind of outlined, and we had about 90 people participate in the survey. A lot of those were caregivers, more than half of those actually. Some were professionals, and the people that actually have the developmental or intellectual disabilities. So a simple question, like if they were interested in participating in a social club, the large majority of them said yes, they would be. A lot of the participants that answered the survey were female. And then a large majority of the people that answered the survey also live in the City of Fishers. So some of the groups that we are working with may have some individuals that live outside of the city. And I don't think we have limited the social group to Fishers only. Maybe that's something that we need to discuss, but a large majority of the participants that answered the survey were from Fishers. So as Mary mentioned, this is for people kind of beyond that high school level. So the survey, I was actually happy to see that over 85% of the people that answered the survey was over the age of 18. So that was awesome. So the data that we're collecting is relevant. This question was more to gauge the more of their availability, and then where people are working, so we can get plugged into those different organizations and companies, potentially saying if they are employed with these certain partners, then maybe there's opportunities there to kind of combine some efforts, or have them their businesses maybe host an event or be a part of this initiative as a whole. So that was just some additional data that we found interesting. Some people that were that actually answered no, that they were did not want to participate. None of those no's came from the person with the intellectual developmental disabilities. Most of those came from, and it wasn't a lot. It was about, I can't remember the number. It was under 20, but most of those, they were caregivers. So A question that we did hit on was that, do you currently participate in any of our Fishers Parks events? An idea came from the group was that we don't re-event, invent, some type of programming for people with disability, but instead try to incorporate this group and, try to integrate this group within some existing programming that our Parks and Recreation Department is already doing. So we just wanted to get a feel for if these groups of people are already involved in some of those programs, and a large majority of them actually said no, which was surprising to me. And I kind of highlighted the top 5 reasons for them answering no. It was that they weren't aware or they didn't have knowledge about the programs, just their lack of availability or scheduling. And they're not local or they don't live in Fisher, so they may live outside of the city, and it may be harder for them to come to a Fisher's ran program. Things that we offer, they may not be interested in. So just some very interesting points to look into to see, what we're currently offering that may not be working for this group. And something that also was brought up is the just the overstimulated environments. So having too much of a sensory, too noisy, too loud, too crowded. Some people may be anxious, get some anxiety or some kind. So just looking at those things, and I will share those that feedback with our Parks and Recreation Department as we move forward. So we also asked them if they were involved with any other type of social groups or initiatives that are outside of Fishers. And a large majority of them said that they were a part of the Best Buddies, Hamilton County's Special Olympics, the Monon Center, which I'm not familiar with, and Carmel Dads Club and Sunshine Club. So more, more investigation to do in that, so we can kind of reach out to those groups and see what they're doing, what's working, what's not working, or some collaborative approaches there. We can definitely explore those options. And I'll kind of go through this fairly quickly, this section, just to kind of gauging again the applicants to see how, or the surveyors to see how soon they would like to meet. A large majority of them want to meet as soon as possible. So that's awesome to see, even with the COVID, current environment that we're in. Most of them want to meet during the evening and on the weekend. And a large majority of them would like to meet, monthly or weekly. I think we can make it monthly, definitely work. Weekly may be somewhat challenging. And then some of the we wanted to also ask them if they had any limitations and what those would be. Most of them answered no, but for the groups that answer yes, the top answers that were provided was that it was a medical or some type of allergy, limitation, or a physical limitation that they would need some type of support, or transportation. So getting to point A to point B was that limitation that was kind of like the overarching theme of the reasons that they answer yes to having a limitation. So of course we want to continue to engage with this group. So we asked them what would be the best alternative for receiving some information, and they definitely like their emails from the results that we got. So so based on just some other information that we were gathering to see what type of activities or programming elements that we could have in this social club, we wanted them to provide some feedback on things that they would like to do. And a large some of them were music concert kind of focus and hanging with friends. They are tied for 72. And coming in a close second is dining in or cooking. Who doesn't love that? So I agree with all of those answers. So from that, the survey results were really informative and insightful. So we have collected contact information for those individuals and hope to even share updates with them as they come. But I think Mary may have some additional things for the actual internal process or the board that you would like to discuss.
Sure. So you want to just hit your slide. Oh, there we go. Let me share mine. Okay.
Thank you, Jared, for all your work with that. That's really telling. You can tell that there is such a huge need to engage in our community, to have those connections with friends, with others. So I'm super excited, and Mary's going to talk a little bit more about some more details that involve the club here once we get the slides back on.
Yep. There we go. There we go. Okay, real quick, we'll just breeze through this. This is getting lengthy. So I'm kind of a stickler on getting some details and some structure in place. We're going to have a board of directors, probably going to be the people that we just were mentioning in the first slide. We're going to create some bylaws. We've already got an email address, that sort of a thing going. So we're wanting to just charge forward on this, but put a little bit of structure behind it. We're hoping that the club itself will have officers of the club so that the members themselves can take a leadership role, and that they potentially can have a advisory committee from the community here within the club, and that, you know, this could be a self-run kind of thing for the most part, with a little bit of a you know, support base from the board of directors and some community members that want to become involved. So we're looking to, you know, kind of keep this thing going from, you know, here forward. City of Fishers has been great. Gerard and Cecilia and everything that we're doing here. So we're first gonna, when we do get some volunteers from the community, Fishers has a whole volunteer program where volunteers are vetted, super important in our population. There's going to be a portion of the This is Fishers website that's going to be for this club. I guess that's sort of a community page within the Fishers website. So this will be found there. But first, initially, we will just be found through the web page that Cecilia's disability awareness page is located. So we're going to be very, very little bit of information on the web right now. So if you're telling people just go to the website, it really doesn't exist right now. So, but we hope to have that put into place in the next couple of months or so. And we're going to try to tie, of course, into the parks events as much as we can, especially right now with COVID. We're going to kind of start slow. So I pretty much just told you everything on the previous slide that's on this slide. We've got a logo. You'll notice on the slides that I've had this logo, changing logo between every other slide. So we're going to make this kind of fun tonight, and you guys get to vote on which logo we're going to use. So just ideas here at the start. You know, certainly we want all of the events to be adult appropriate events, like concerts, farmers market, that sort of thing, whatever the holiday event is. It sounds like maybe some in the community are unaware that Fishers Parks usually does have a sensory area at all of their events. So that's something to probably maybe make a bit more known in this community. And so we'll do hangouts, watch games, lunch bunches, dine out, that sort of a thing here. But we're going to start. There's been ideas with the Agri Park and Hub and Spoke. So we've got all kinds of ideas rolling around in the group. So you'll see all kinds of these things happening. But we're going to start with a call out. We've kind of put a pin on September 28th to do a Zoom meeting, a call out. So we're going to be putting an email together, and I'll send it to everybody in the committee and everybody who's been interested so far. And if you email me here, I'll put you on the list. And we'll do a call out meeting on September 28th where we kind of just discuss the club in general. And then we're hoping to perhaps get a group together with the Action Club. Dana Potschmidt has some a big affiliation with that group. She's on our group. So maybe the two groups together will do we'll have a group of people getting together physically on October 3rd out in the park somewhere, participating in this Keep Fishers Beautiful event that occurs. So so that'll be October, and we hope to have a couple of events, and then it's gonna start slow because of COVID, but we're getting it going. So do we have any questions?
Doesn't look like we have any questions, so let's go ahead and take a look at, well, we might have one question.
I did, real quick. This is Olivia. Hi.
Hi.
Would there also be, or would there be any interest in having like a virtual or online hangouts and like activities based on the interest of those members? There's like, some people may not really be interested in person because of anxiety or what have you, and maybe more comfortable starting off that way, or just remaining that way. So just to throw that out there. That's about it.
Yeah, I guess if there's a need for it, we can certainly, that's easy enough to create. So we can talk about that maybe on September 28th. See if people are interested in doing something like that.
It's such a new and fresh idea that I feel like there's opportunities to spin this any way we really see fit. So we're open to ideas and different visions that you guys may have. So feel free to send those to Mary or myself, and I'll share my contact information in the chat as well.
Great, thank you.
Do we want to go ahead, for sake of time, Mary, go ahead and just talk about the logo?
Sure. Real quick, these are the two logos. If you like the exclamation point, vote this in the chat box. If you like the other with the this Thrive logo, vote this in the chat box, and we'll have a logo by the end of this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there they go. My watch is going crazy. Okay, so you want to take it to whatever you need. I think that's Thrive. So we hope to, and then if you had a chance, this is going to be the mailbox, the email box for Thrive. So if you have questions directly, you can take it to that thrivefishers@gmail.com.
Thanks, Mary, for all your help with this. It's amazing what we're doing. I am just so excited with everything that's happening here in Fishers. Thanks for all your work, and so we'll let you know what the final voting tally is here in just a few minutes. We'll move on because of time. Kelly's going to talk about a partnership that has begun with EMS and our first responders support. So Kelly, would you like to share a little bit about that?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Essentially, there's been a group of us from the provider world, mostly around providers of behavioral supports in Fishers, and we've been working with first responders and EMS. We have done a lot of work and a lot of collaborating. Most recently put together an assessment tool that we are going to share with first responders so that when they go somewhere in our community and someone is struggling who happens to have an intellectual disability, the EMS first responders will have the opportunity to kind of go through these assessment questions, which will then help them know what services to refer to what providers. And so it has been a good collaboration, and we're continuing to work on that. I actually just got a call today that they know what we're doing in Fishers, and first responders in Noblesville are really interested in talking to us about what's happening. So I know Cecilia is excited about this too. I think one of my most exciting things about being a part of this in Fishers is that other communities want to be doing the same kinds of things, and it's really shared enthusiasm across other communities in Hamilton County. So we could go on and on. We have a lot of other exciting things to talk about tonight, so we'll just keep you guys posted on that. And certainly if you have questions, you can send them directly to me, and we will vet those through the group that's working with the City of Fishers.
And Kelly, I see a couple hands up right now. I don't know. Does anyone have any questions on what Kelly just provided? I see 2 hands up. So anybody? And I don't have their names.
No, mine is actually unrelated. Olivia, if your hand is still up, if you.
Sorry, I had no idea it was still up. So.
Okay.
I know
fine.
I always have questions since elementary school. I'm a kid that always had questions, but no, that was an accident. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. Mine was unrelated. I just wanted, before you get to the next topic, I just wanted to share the link I just shared in the chat. I wanted to bring this up before I hopped off the call. I have a hard stop at 7. But our mayor, Scott Badness, has challenged our community, our residents, our businesses to be a part of this Interrupting Racism program that we're offering free for all of our residents. And we are trying to fill 500 seats. So if you or someone else that you are closely working with, or someone from your family wants to actually take that course, I shared the link and you can sign up and register there. So if you guys have questions, just feel free to reach out to me. Cecilia, you may have some knowledge on it as well, but I just wanted to just get that out there in case you guys didn't know about the initiative.
Sure. Thanks, Gerard. Yeah, it's I went through the training and it was a very enlightening opportunity to really learn, especially from our diverse community, of some of the things they're facing and some of the things that we can do to help, build a better community with more communication and building those relationships with one another. And so it's been very positive. So yes, if you're interested, please log on to that link. Thank you, Gerard. I know you got to get going.
Oh yeah, no problem.
I'm going to move on. Did you have anything else?
Oh no, that's fine. That's it.
Okay. There were just a couple questions, Kelly, about the directory. We are working with the first responders with the special needs registry. So if you have a special need, someone in your family, you can go on to the Fishers Fire Department website and opt in to a special needs registry so that they have that information in their system when there's ever an emergency, that they have an idea of what they might be facing in an emergency with someone with a medical condition, with some kind of mental health issue, developmental disability. So please go to that website. We're going to move on, again, for sake of time, to share some upcoming developments, and I'll let Kelly go ahead and talk about the 2 developments that we're working on right now.
So these are, this will be brief because this is very, very new, and both of these are very much in their infancy. But in our collaboration amongst the providers who are working with EMS, a couple of needs have evolved, and that is, one, we would really love to get a list of all of the resources that are available to folks and their families who are impacted by intellectual and developmental disabilities. Any kind of resources that are out there. We don't feel like there's anywhere that has a really good comprehensive list that is specific to our folks, and so that's something we would like to work on. I think Cecilia and I both envision that having sort of a dotted line to our group, to where if somebody in our community needed something, they could come to us, we could refer them to this resource list. It also is a resource that EMS is very, very much interested in having, so that when a family, they may not know that there are services available. They may not know that there are activities available. They may not know about the Thrive Social Club. Any way to connect folks to each other. So if you have ideas of things that need to go on that resource list, certainly if you could send those to either Cecilia or I, we're going to start putting that together. And also out of that group, we began to talk about developing a Fishers Family Support Network. And what that would be is perhaps working with caregivers and loved ones who have experience and who are willing to mentor and be in communication with families that might be struggling with behavioral issues or programmatic challenges at home, just so that we can begin to connect and have families working with families. We are looking at a couple of models across the state of some really great family networks, which becomes then just a really great place to share information and share these resources. So we are working on that. We'll continue to keep you posted. Any great ideas that you have about that or thoughts, we'd be happy to hear those as well. Does anybody have questions about either of those two things?
Okay, and we're going to move on to kind of share a little bit more about disability employment and what's going on with those efforts here in Fishers. I want to introduce to you some of our subcommittee chairmen, Michelle Stelz and Chrissy Pogue. They're on the call today, and we'll share a little bit about them and what they're doing, and they can introduce themselves. But first, we're going to have Kelly share some of the data coming from VR in terms of disabilities and employment going on right now.
So I think the interesting thing is many people have asked, how has COVID-19 impacted folks with disabilities who are employed in the community? And that data has recently been shared from the state. And it's interesting that of all people who happen to have disabilities who are employed with supports of vocational rehabilitation, only 33% have not have any change as a result of COVID. However, 50%, almost 50% were furloughed or laid off. And then we do have a mix of people who are working remotely, are no longer employed in their jobs, not because of COVID, but for some other reason, and 11% quit their jobs. So those are data points that we continue to watch. The other interesting development is as we're looking towards some exciting things that are coming in March, I got information today that there are a lot of employers within the Carmel and Fishers community together that are employing folks through VR supports. And so that gives us hope, I think, for finding people jobs and for continuing to educate our community. And for all of you guys out there who are doing job coaching and trying to find people placements, there within the Fishers and Carmel community together, there are 34 companies that are currently only employing one person with an intellectual disability. So use those opportunities to open doors to get additional people into the workforce. That is all I have. I'm excited to hear from Michelle and Chrissy about the business networking group and what we have going on with Fishers Agri Park. Take it away, ladies.
Thanks, Kelly. I'm going to jump in and talk about our Disability in the Workplace Business Networking Group. It's kind of a mouthful, but that really is a collaboration, and we've talked a little bit about it before, but a collaboration between providers, different businesses in the organization or in the city, members of the city, and then representatives from our Voc Rehab at the state level. And really, it's an opportunity for providers to talk about potential candidates they have, any of their stumbling blocks. It's also an opportunity for employers to talk through any of their challenges, to be able to kind of use that as a recruiting platform. We have somebody in the group that when they have a job posting, they kind of send it out to the group and kind of get it out there, and we immediately get that to our employment specialists and people that work with the people who are looking for the jobs. So across all sorts of different businesses, Conner Prairie has been involved for a long time. We have folks who are doing any number of range of positions, from data analysts to representatives in some of our hospitality services. So we kind of got it kicked off a week or two ago, coming after some of the shutdowns and stuff with COVID, and really talked about challenges that businesses might be having, in terms of engaging their workforce or employment or those type of things, but then also some things that the providers are seeing in terms of helping people find jobs or maintaining jobs. And really we look at that every other month, and then it's kind of tied into some of our March Disability Awareness activities. And so that's all kind of tied together. And really, I think we'll talk a little bit about some of the partnerships with One Zone and that type of thing coming up, but really looking to expand that. And so I'll put mine and Chrissy's information in the chat. But if you know of a business that would like to take a part of this, we'd be happy to invite them and include them. And I'll take any questions, or you can throw them in the chat. Chrissy?
Just to tag on to what Michelle said, even if businesses aren't sure that they have the need for an employee, but they're willing to let us do some job experiencing or job shadowing there, that's a big thing. You know, with all of the COVID stuff that's still going around, we're still not able to get into some of our businesses that have been great placements for us to just see what some of our students would be able to handle socially, emotionally, the stimulus with the sensory issues and all these other things. It's hard to emulate something in the school building that they've been in all these years. So if we have different places that we can just spend an hour or two with a student, we're able to kind of assess skills differently than we would be able to within the school. So yes, but no, Michelle, I think you summed it up well. We're working on our next meeting, so we'll get that information out too. Michelle's always great about sending invites. And I believe the next one's still going to be Zoom, right, Michelle?
Yep, I think that's what we just, yep.
Okay, so like Tilly said, I'm Chrissy Pogue. I'm the Hamilton Southeastern Transition Specialist. So Michelle and I tackle the Workforce Business Networking group together, and then we're in the employment team for March Disability Awareness and any other thing that has to do with employment and disabilities for Fishers. I think that captures it all, right? One of the things that I'm excited about was we got connected with Fishers Agri-Park. Thank you, Scott Fadness and Cecilia Coble, for that connection. We started this week, and I wish I would have thought about getting permission from all the parents, because they sent me pictures of our kids, and they were so proud to be getting their hands dirty and actually doing stuff with the produce, and to be picking the produce themselves. Of course, they all got to take a ton home that they thought was great, but it's really going to offer a lot of options for students, especially, again, our students that we're not sure how they're going to be in certain environments, or students that really want to be outside, or students that aren't sure and then they realize they don't want to be outside anymore. So it's a great partnership. The staff over there is amazing. My job coaches fell in love with them right away. But I think it's going to be a great partnership for us. It's going to go through October, and then during winter they said there'll be some minimal stuff, but then by February they'll kick back up. So hopefully we'll be able to start or go its second semester and end the year strong over there. So it's a great opportunity. Get out there if you haven't been out there. Great folks out there doing some fun things.
Thank you, Chrissy and Michelle. Does anyone have any questions for Chrissy or Michelle as it relates to disability employment, or Kelly? Okay. It looks like we don't have any questions, so we're going to move on to March Disability Awareness Month. So in that same vein of disability employment, I wanted to share with you that we are collaborating with the One Zone Chamber. It's the chamber for the Carmel and Fishers businesses. The president, Jack Russell, we've been working with him along with Chrissy and Michelle, Kelly Hartman, myself, Shelby Slowick of the Conner Prairie. And we are collaborating to finally get a huge One Zone luncheon where we're going to have all the members of the One Zone there, and we can share and present information about how employers can employ people with disabilities. And so we're super excited. We want you to mark it on your calendar as March 10th, 2021. And we're still ironing out the venue. It looks as though we're trying to have it here in Fishers. And we're going to be featuring a lot of our employers that we're working with and share those stories, and also try to bring in the Carmel story as well, and get those businesses engaged and involved. And so we're really excited. So I really appreciate everybody's help with that. What I wanted to talk about, and what I would like to know, if you are interested in being part of our March Disability Awareness Month committee, we are going to be starting to meet up again to start planning for March. And hopefully we're going to be able to bring back some of those events that we had planned that we weren't able to showcase due to COVID. So please email Kelly or I if you are interested in being part of our committee. We're going to be getting a meeting started probably via Zoom or maybe outside or something, social distancing to get out there and start collaborating on some ideas. Every year we have a theme for March Disability Awareness Month, and one of the things I've been kind of thinking about is celebrating our community. We have come so far from the time that this group started, all the collaborations that we've done. I would really like to focus on just all the great things that we have accomplished as a group in collaboration with our community. So that's kind of where I'm going, but we're interested in thoughts and ideas. And we're looking at maybe putting a video together, highlighting all of the wonderful things we've done as a community to help those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Are there any questions that anybody has regarding March Disability Awareness Month? Okay. Okay, it doesn't look like we have anybody with any questions. So please just reach out to us. We really want to engage all of our stakeholders in our community, our businesses, our providers, our caregivers, our individuals with disabilities. So please, if you're interested in being a part of any of the committees that you've heard about today, whether it's housing, employment, March Disability Awareness Month, we have some other committees as well that I'm wanting to share more information with you. So please reach out to us. One of the announcements that I have for this evening, maybe some of you already know, is Carmel has formed a Carmel Advisory Committee on Disability. Laura Campbell, the president of the Fisher City Council, has a special needs daughter, and she and I have been working for a while now for them, Carmel, to start a group just like ours. So that is really, really exciting that again, we were able to be the model for Carmel and to showcase some of the things we've been doing, and this is a movement that's happening, and other municipalities, other cities are wanting to start doing what we're doing. And so I just want to thank all of you for being a part of our group. This group is about sharing resources. I know that we're all busy, so please feel free to be involved as much as you can, or as much as you're able to, whether it's just coming to a meeting every quarter, or being involved in some of the initiatives that we're doing. If you have any other ideas, we're really looking for other ideas and things that we can do. Another announcement I will be sending out is RHI is doing a movie night over at Tibbs Theater October 3rd. They're going to be sharing a video about athletes with disabilities, and then they're going to show the movie Hoosiers. And so that would be a neat outing to do during COVID. And so I'll send that information out to you about that. Does anyone else have any other announcements coming up related to anything happening in the community that they'd like to share? Anybody? Okay. With that, I'm glad we've got just a few more minutes. I know we started a little bit late, and I appreciate everybody's patience with the technology and just sharing the screens and everything. Are there any questions? I know we've thrown a lot at you, but I wanted to have these 10 minutes in case there's something that you have a question on, or you want to share. Is there anything that people are interested in? Okay, no one has everyone's like, all right, we're ready to roll. Okay, I think Mary has the results of the vote.
Oh yes, drum roll, please. The one with the exclamation point.
Yay.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
The The
So
creator, that was her favorite one too, actually. Lisa Powers gets all the credit. She's a friend of mine, and she's just super talented. So, yep, she'll be excited to hear that that's the one we chose. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you everybody for participating. Again, just to reference back to Carmel, we all have friends, we all have a network in other cities. Please share this information with Carmel. It's important that this becomes a Hamilton County movement of leadership and of moving the ball forward for the disability community. So please let them know that they have formed an advisory committee there, and get them in, encourage them to get involved or get the information, because they're wanting to hear from the disability community there in Carmel. So please make sure you sign up for the agendas. There is at the bottom of our agenda tonight, there is a way to sign up so that you get the information. I also send the information via email, but also the city sends you these agenda items and newsletters regarding this group. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 8th, Tuesday, December 8th, from 5:30 to 7:30. At this point, I'm not sure if it will be a in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting, but put that on your calendar. And if you have any suggestions for topics for this upcoming meeting, please email Kelly and I, and we'll take a look at putting this on the agenda for our December meeting. So with that, I just want to thank Kelly Luark and Ross Hillary for their technical support and their support for this group, and Kelly Hartman, my co-chair, and all the other people that are involved in this group. I'm really excited. We should all be proud, and let's get going. So thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.